Adam, Happy New Year. We're back. Did you have a nice New Year's?
Yes.
I know you were in New York.
Yes, we got to do the New York thing, which was great. Got to go up to the top of the rock at sunset. I know you like your sunsets.
Yeah, you sent me a picture. That was fantastic.
That was pretty awesome. So, yeah, it was a great trip.
Well, I know you guys were happy, but you weren't as happy as these guys. Let me play you a little clip here. You ready? This is a group of players in the locker room dancing after an FA Cup win. And we're going to get into that a bit later on in the show because it's time for free kicks with your good pals Adam and Rick. And we start it right now.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
So before we get into the FA Cup, that was a team. We'll talk about them in just a bit here that had a big upset in the FA Cup. We should talk about what's going on with the U.S. men's national team. That's kind of been a big story over the break here. And it turns out that this Berhalter versus Reyna story is kind of a personal grudge. and it's weirder than it appeared at first. I know, Adam, I'm not going to make you comment on this. You've got your job with the folks there, but I can say that it really breaks down to this. If when push comes to shove, it sounds to me like this is an argument over playing time between parents and coaches, and every coach who's ever coached has faced this issue. And I remember when you and I coached together, there were parents that had stopwatches on the sidelines, making sure that their kids played exactly the number of minutes that someone else's kid played. This is something that every coach has gone through. Obviously not to this level, and obviously not. It's not quite as damaging as this could be to the U.S. national team, but it's a story as old as time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out, and hopefully they can come to a good resolution down the road.
All right. Let's get to soccer and find out what's happening on the pitch.
Premier League football. What's happening on the pitch?
And we're going to find out that there's other teams other than just the Premier League. Isn't that true, Adam? The FA Cup.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The beauty of the cup. That's what we call it. We love it. It's one of the best weekends in football when you see these lower ranked teams against the higher ranked teams. It's the NCAA tournament in the way of soccer. It's great.
You know, I splurged last year and got the ESPN Plus just for the FA Cup.
Got to do it.
And I was watching it all weekend, and it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And some huge upsets. A lot of Premier League teams got knocked out. And the clip that we played at the beginning, that was how do you pronounce this team? It's a 4th division team.
Yep.
Stevenage,
yes. Stevenage FC.
Stevenage FC knocked out Aston Villa from the Premier League, and that was the clip of the players dancing in the in the locker room, and it was just a fun clip. You can go out there and see it on Twitter. I think the Men in Blazers tweeted it out. Great stuff.
Yeah,
did you see any of these games?
I was unable to see any of them. We were coaching. We'll talk about our ODP stuff later, but I obviously got to see all the clips, and the Stevenage one, I went back and watched a good chunk of that. But the crazy thing about it, Rick, was that Aston Villa was up with basically 3 minutes left.
I know.
So this you couldn't have done it any better. So basically, Stevenage scored the last 2 goals in the 88th and 90th minutes to win the tie. So it was a great finish. I would say probably Aston Villa fell asleep a little bit on that corner.
Yeah.
You always got, that's what we always say. We got to be awake on the dead balls.
Yeah,
that's what you got to do.
Set pieces.
Exactly. And they took a short corner and he smashed it into the near post. But that was great. But it was awesome because, I love Twitter for so many things. And some of the stuff that Stevenage was doing during the game was really good. So I kind of caught a few of these things. There was one particular quote which was really good, even though the Stevenage at this point was losing. This was the 66th minute. And they said, Philippe Coutinho is coming off. But the best part was when and I guess they called it trolling. I guess that's the
yes,
two
exactly.
terms. So we're trolling them. So, but the best part was when the Stevenage people said the substitution took longer than usual as they had to dig him out of Luther James Walden's back pocket.
Wow.
So that was great. So that was awesome. I know you love your
adjectives.
Your names with, the adjectives, and then he throws in a two-parter for his last name. It was great. So. But you could see that Stevenage was just up for the fight, and then it all turned great for them in the last couple of minutes. But yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, unless you're an Aston Villa fan, then it's not awesome.
Yeah.
So, but then there was another huge upset. There's a team from the National League, we call it, right, which is the fifth division.
Yep.
And that's Wrexham, the team that we've been following on TV with Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney as the owners. They went and beat a team in the championship, Coventry City, a giant upset and an unbelievable. I watched the whole game. It was an unbelievable game, 4-3.
Yeah. I think I heard somebody saying it had everything: goals, red cards, penalty kicks, great saves by the goalkeepers. It was like the perfect match. But Wrexham fully deserving.
Oh, at one point they were up 4-1, and on that fourth goal, it was a penalty kick, and the guy who did the handball got a red card. So you're thinking it's 4-1. Coventry's down to 10 players, and then Coventry makes a huge comeback. And that last 20 minutes, it was just a bombardment. You could see the Wrexham players had nothing left in the tank at all. They were just barely scraping by. But wow, I'm sure that this will be featured in a future episode. There's just no question about it. Don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, it was great. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be part of their TV series for sure. But yeah, it was interesting because it was an upset, but people kind of expected it, if that makes sense, just because of the publicity that's going around Wrexham, and you kind of thought this could definitely happen. Yeah. And I know that there's a lot of people that are, and this is just typical. A lot of the other teams are jealous of Wrexham being owned by these two celebrities, and it's not fair. They've got obviously a lot of money being pumped into the club at this point, but in a lot of respects, and again, it's slightly different money than maybe some of the other Premier League teams where it's coming from, right? So, not to get into whole politics and everything else, but this is good American money, well hard earned cash coming in. So I think that's fair enough, and they still got to get promoted. I mean, they're still in a dogfight to get promoted in the National League. But what a great result for them, and we'll see how they do in the next round.
Well, they're still only, I believe, in second place in their league.
That's right.
And that's not a guaranteed slot to move up, right?
Yeah, right now I think it's just the top team that goes through, so they've got to come behind. I mean, there's still a lot of football to be played,
right?
But hopefully they can get through there. But Notts County or above them, or another storied club as well, who've been around for a long time. So it's going to go down to the wire.
Okay, there were a couple of other upsets we should talk about. Maybe not quite at the level, but Blackpool knocked out Premier League club Nottingham Forest. And convincingly, 4-1. Good game.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And that was an interesting one because the club was getting a little bit of a grief because they flew to that game. So it was. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
It's not particularly far. in terms of how they go. And obviously Nottingham Forest made a massive amount of changes, which you can kind of understand because they are in a dogfight at the bottom of the table. So they've got to just really worry about the staying in the Premier League.
True.
So I believe they pretty much changed every player. But, Blackpool, convincing win, 4-1. So you can kind of see that was what was going to happen. So I think they're looking to maybe try to strengthen the squad, although Notts Forest, a bit like Chelsea these days, they were signing everybody at the start of the year. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll talk about Chelsea in a bit here. But one more that I wanted to talk about in the FA Cup, and that's Sheffield Wednesday knocking out Newcastle. Newcastle, who had been on the move, right?
Yeah, exactly. A bit of a shocker too. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday, another big club who've been around for a long, long time, and are second, I believe, in League One. So doing very well themselves. But a bit of a surprise. I think again, same thing. Newcastle had quite a few players change, but you would expect a Newcastle in the form that they were in would have won that game. But I don't know if you saw in the highlights, Newcastle did miss a lot of opportunities to win that game. Yes. There was Chris Wood, especially at the end, pretty much just had the goal to knock it in and smashed it over, reminiscent of Harry Kane's penalty kick there. But it was one of those games where I think Newcastle could have been playing all day and they were never going to score. So congrats to Chef Weds, as they are known, to win that match.
But anyway, so this is why the FA Cup is so exciting, because you just never know what you're going to see. I think we're a few more weeks out before they do it again. Do you know off the top of your head when the next FA Cup?
So scheduled for Friday, starting the 27th and 30th. So that's that weekend. And so that's the fourth round draw is already there. Probably the best, most mouth-watering game. Fourth round game, Man City versus Arsenal. Should be a great one.
Wow.
So that's gonna be a good one. And for our buddy Vince, he's still in there. Sunderland, they're still in there playing against a Premier League team. They got Fulham in the next round, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay, so there's some fun things to root for. All right, let's talk about the transfer window, which opened since we last spoke, and teams are starting to sign players. It hasn't been quite the flood of signings that I was expecting, but there have been a few, and Chelsea has done quite a bit here. Talk about the new players that are coming to Chelsea.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of key ones here that have just joined. Benoit Badashil, hopefully I'm saying it correctly. I've still got to probably get my pronunciations correct on that one. And David Fofana, so that's great. So we have two Fofanas. That's going to make things really confusing.
I was wondering about that.
But both those players have come in. Fofana played kind of briefly in the defeat to Man City in the FA Cup. But Benoit hasn't played yet. But my goodness, if you think about the perfect centre-back, you're 6'4", 21, left-footed, and you just signed a 7-year contract. I think he might be a pretty good one. So I think he's going to be the player that hopefully they can kind of work things around in the back. Obviously, Chelsea's got some issues, both defensively and offensively, so they've got to kind of work through that. But I'm a big believer of time. Graham Potter will get things going. It may just take a little bit longer. Just like Mikel Arteta, it took him a little while to get things going. I'm sure they'll figure it out. But the big one, and they're on the cusp of signing him, is Joao Felix.
Yeah,
such a great World Cup with Portugal. Looks like he's going to be signing any day here. So that's an exciting one. Because we're a bit short on wingers because we need a few more.
Well, they are dropping like flies, though. To be fair,
but that's true. That's true. I mean the injuries. You're right.
The injury list at Chelsea is just unbelievable. And Christian Pulisic went down this week.
That's right.
He's out for several weeks, I hear.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's like 10 to 12 players injured right now, so it's a tough one. And, similar to what Liverpool's dealing with, they've had lots of injuries as well. But they brought in a player themselves in Cody Gakpo. I know you're following that closely.
Yeah, I saw him play this past week.
Yeah, do you think he's going to make a difference?
No, I do not. I think maybe I'm in the same mindset that you are. So I'm a Liverpool supporter. You're a Chelsea supporter. This is not going to be our year.
Yeah.
And that's just,
I agree.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to, write off the rest of the season, but it's not looking good.
At least you're closer to qualification for the Europa League, so you're only a few points out. But again, Tottenham's in fifth; they've got 33 points. Chelsea's got 25, Liverpool's got 28. So I think you're going to have a bunch of teams battling just to get into the Europa League. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not that exciting, is it?
No.
It's not going to be our year. I mean, I'm depressed. I watched Gakpo in the World Cup with the Netherlands. He's a good player. I like him a lot, but he's no Sadio Mane.
No, exactly. I don't know if he's a game changer, and that's what I mean. You hate to say, but that's what Liverpool need. I mean, Darwin Núñez is a game changer. The problem is he just can't score goals.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
He can't shoot.
He puts himself in great positions, but he's just having a hard time scoring.
He's got no foot. I mean, he's all speed, and and the other thing is, if you ever watch him, he doesn't run with his head up. He's not looking for his teammates. He misses wide open passes. I'm not happy with him at all.
Okay. All right.
This is my feeling.
I'm sorry to hear that. My goodness, we're getting you all fired up in the morning. But
you just picked that scab. You shouldn't have picked that scab.
But I know. But I'm certainly with you. I mean, and maybe he will come. He will come good. I hope so. He kind of reminds me of a bit of a Fernando Torres when he moved to Chelsea. He was great at Liverpool. Was not doing it quite. I'm a big believer of time. We'll see. But you can only give him so much time, right? Just like Chelsea had to with Timo Werner and just didn't get it done. So all these are things that maybe take a little bit of time. We'll see.
So have you seen anything else in the transfer window that we should be talking about? There are, a few players here or there, but nothing really of note that I have seen.
Not yet. I've heard that Wout Weghorst, did I say that correctly? How's my German Dutch?
Yeah.
Not too bad, but he's on the verge of going to Manchester United, which is an interesting. Those of you can remember from the World Cup, he's the one that scored the tying goal against Argentina right at the end off that crazy free kick that they kind of invented. So that was really good. But then, when you look at all of the other, kind of maybes, there's a lot of talk right now. If anything, there was actually more talk about people who were retiring. Did you hear about Gareth Bale retired?
Yes.
And then also Hugo Lloris retired from the national team.
Okay.
For some of those Tottenham fans, I think they were hoping that we'd retire from Tottenham, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
And actually, since we last spoke, also Ronaldo has signed with Saudi Arabia.
That's right, exactly. He's going over there too. Yes, even after talking, he wanted to play at the highest level. Of course, where would you go? that mighty league of Saudi Arabia, of course. But I think that could be an interesting one with the Weghorst there, 6'6", could be an interesting inclusion into the Premier League, and certainly for Manchester United, that might help them with. Having a slightly different look as well. So we'll see.
Well, Manchester United, we got to say, is having a better season than either of our teams.
That's right. They figured it out. And again, gave him some time. He needed some time. He got his players where he needed to. I think that's it. I think obviously Liverpool's having to kind of reinvent themselves as well. And Chelsea, obviously, new manager. So we'll see how it goes. This time next year, we might be talking about Liverpool and Chelsea in the Champions League. Who knows?
Yeah, could be. But right now, it looks like it's Arsenal and Manchester City, and may the best team win.
That's right.
As we head out. All right. Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Yep. Illinois Youth Soccer is proudly serving the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and has a strong history of credibility. Illinois Youth Soccer is a nonprofit corporation, official state association and charter member of the U.S. Soccer Federation, charter member of U.S. Youth Soccer, and administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and administers U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
And this is a big week for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, always busy because we're leaving today, jumping on a flight. This is Tuesday, jumping on a flight to head out to beautiful Philadelphia. Weather looks pretty good, actually, in the 40s. So normally it's freezing at this time in the year. So we're heading out there for the National Tracksuit Convention. The National Soccer Coaches Convention. So we're excited about going out to that. It's always a lot of fun.
If you want to see a lot of black and white sweatpants, that is the place to go.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly. It's as dull and dreary as most towns in England, right? So everybody's wearing black and grey, other than the Borussia Dortmund coaches who come around with their bright yellow jackets. Yeah. But no, it's always a fun week. We have a lot of meetings within US Youth Soccer has their workshop as well. So we have some leadership programs that we do. Obviously, we get to do a lot of network with some of our partners. And they have the biggest exhibit hall that you'll ever see. So you get around and look at some of the new things that U.S. Soccer and other things are bringing in. So it's always kind of fun. And maybe come back with something inventive when we come back on our next podcast. So we'll see.
Sounds good. Well, I was at the conference a few years ago. Didn't we do a whole podcast from there?
We did, and it's coming back to Chicago in 2 years from now. So we're excited to hopefully be part of that when it comes back. So next year, you may have to figure out Anaheim. It's not a bad place to be in January. So there you go. may have to work that into the Free Kicks budget, and then the following year it's back in Chicago. So that should be fun. So the next two look really good. We'll get through Philadelphia this year, which is always fun. So it's a great place to be. And then we move forward. But, yeah, lots of things going on. And obviously, we just finished. We're in the midst of our ODP programs. So we're very busy with all that. So it's good.
Yeah, that's great. All right. It's time for your favorite segment of the show. We call it
Time Now to Guess the Premier League Star.
And, this is the part of the show where you can play along at home. You can be an expert. You could be one of these guys who beats someone who is going to a national coaches convention. There
you go.
So this could be a chance to just pat yourself on the back. All right. Mm-hmm. This week's Premier League star is 25 years old. Okay. So he's, about the average age, I'd say, of a Premier League star. He's currently playing professionally in his third different country. Mm-hmm. Right, England being the third. Those three countries each speak a different language.
Okay.
All right. He recently played for his home country in the World Cup.
Okay.
All right, who is it? I'm sorry, I'll give you some more. He is a midfielder.
Midfielder.
Now, he's not really known for his goal-scoring ability, but he has scored 9 times for his Premier League club in what amounts to basically one full season. He came in midway through last season.
Really?
Yeah.
So he scored 9 times this year?
He scored 9 times over his 30 games that he's played.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
He wears number 39 for his team.
Wow. 39.
Yeah.
Wow.
He shares a name with a famous Sacha Baron Cohen character.
Okay. So would it be the famous Borat?
Nope. Another character.
Okay. So it might be an Ali, potentially?
Nope.
As in Ali G?
Nope.
No?
Another character. I'll give you a hint. All right, there's a Manchester United player that also has that name, but he's from Portugal. That's his first name.
Wow, you've made this very tricky. So is it something with Anthony potentially?
Nope.
Wow.
His home uniform can be worn by employees at Foot Locker.
Okay, so he's playing for Newcastle.
Yep.
All right, and he's 25. Where's number 39? From Brazil.
Yes.
Okay. And he's okay. Gotcha. So now I'm figuring it out. So this is it. Is it Bruno Guimaraes from Brazil?
It is.
Wow, that was a tough one.
I know. I thought it was time for a tough one. You've had too easy of a ride lately, so
yeah. That's true.
But yeah, don't you remember that Bruno character by Sacha Baron Cohen? He did the. It was like a gay supermodel or something like that.
I remember it vaguely, but it wasn't very popular.
No, it was not. Which made
that's why it threw me off. I was like Borat. I'm like, how many Borats in the Premier League? How many Ali G's? I was like, Dele Ali, he's already in Turkey somewhere. So I'm like, who the heck is this guy? Yeah. So
Next week there will be clues from 1940s movies. So
that's good to know. I can at least watch a few, brush up ahead of time.
In the meantime, it's time for this.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
Okay, back to the Premier League this weekend with regular fixtures, as we call them. What do we got?
That's right. Yeah, so the games start on Friday this weekend. So we've got Aston Villa and Leeds, which will be a good one too. But the biggest thing I think is going to be really, really good. It's a weekend of derbies. That's what we like.
Fantastic.
We love a good derby. We love a good derby. And I don't know how you're going to do this, Rick, but I think you're going to have to roll yourself out of bed for this one. This is going to be a good one. 6:30 kickoff, Manchester United, Manchester City from Old Trafford on Saturday morning. That's going to be a good one. Or if you want to just just watch the second half, but then get up for the next one. This is my second TV tip. You get two this weekend. Spurs, Arsenal, always a good one. North London derby at Spurs is new. I think it's still called the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't think they've even got a name yet for that stadium. So it's 10:30 kickoff. So you've got two derbies to watch this weekend. Should be really, really good. Spurs and Arsenal on Sunday, 10:30, and then the Man City 6:30 kickoff.
Oh boy!
Enjoy.
Well, I will be in Las Vegas this weekend.
Nice.
So
that'd be like 4:30. Even better.
Actually have better chance of that than I do of the 6:30.
That's true. Exactly. That's normally when you go to bed. So just stay up, have some breakfast at the Flamingo, and you'll be set. You'll be perfect.
All right. Sounds good. Free Kicks is brought to you by Green White Soccer Club. And actually, that's why I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm going to watch our over 48 team play in a tournament in Vegas.
I thought you was the secret weapon. I thought you was going and putting the boots on and ready to play.
Well, if they need somebody, if there are like 12 injuries and they need someone to stand stationary, I'm your guy.
You're the Cody Gapco. Come on, get it done.
All right, 65 years of soccer excellence. Green White provides a great travel soccer program for kids of all ages, led by former World Cup player and coach Mustafa Edders. Go to greenwhitesoccer.org. Now, if they ever have an over 60 tournament.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even then, the other 60-year-olds are in better shape than I am. So
just for the listeners, think about this. This is an over 48 tournament.
Yeah.
So think about the high level of soccer that's going to be going on at the pace that they play.
Yeah.
And then you throw in Las Vegas. I'm sure it's going to be some great soccer. So well worth going to watch.
3 games in 3 days. And then the third day, they're going to I just can't wait.
I think they have that actually. It's called walking soccer. I think that's what they do. A lot of people do it. I think that's what that third game's going to be. You want to run? No, I'm not running. I'm just going to walk to it. Okay. We'll see how it goes.
I'll give you a full report next week.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And by the way, as you joke about the over 48s, I'm still not good enough to play on that team.
Yeah.
That's how bad I am. But they're actually pretty good.
They are.
Special thanks to our executive producer, Tony Lasano with opishows.com. Opie is hippo backwards, OPPIHshows.com. Distributed by Ed Silla with Radio Misfits. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place, RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week, all refreshed from our trips.
That's right.
With a brand new episode of Free Kicks.
The proceeding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?
What do you get when you hear a celebrity Minutia Men interview, Dave?
Rick, think of Dan Rather and Bill Maher having a kid.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So you'll get minutia.
Right. What does a Damone from Fast Times at Ridgemont High really think about the movie?
Only one place to find out, and that's Celebrity Minutia Men Interview, a Tony Lasano podcast. Go to opishows.com or wherever you find podcasts. Just search for Radio Misfits.